What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Control the Narrative. A huge episode, as I'm sure a lot of you guys have been waiting for. Carmelo Anthony is talking free. Free Melo is now Melo free. And to kind of celebrate it and kind of preview it, we got Chris from the Blazer Gang podcast joining tonight. So, Chris, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, sir. We're family now, man. Melo's in Portland now, so we'll be talking to each other a lot and interacting with each other and shit like that for the rest of the season. But word, man. So kind of just wanted to get your thoughts on the Blazers and what's going on this season. How come they're starting off so slow after reaching the conference finals last year? And just like your opinions on the young season so far.
So far, I think with all the new additions to the team, it's been a slow start for the most part. I think it's just chemistry. Yeah. You know, I want to say we lost like 6 to 7 guys from the team that went to the Western Conference Finals last year. And so just Dame and CJ trying to fill out the new guys, what their new roles are, and just trying to gel all at the same time. And I think that's what's really caused our 4-8 start, or no, now we're 5-9, I want to say, after the loss to Houston tonight. So it's been a slow start so far.
So you think it's just all chemistry issues? You think it's not like one thing or the other, like defense or like shooting or something? You think it's kind of just whatever?
For the most part, it's chemistry. Also, it is our defense. You know, teams are getting to the paint at will for the most part. I want to say we're one of the worst teams, defensive rating as of right now. And it's just chemistry, defense, and not hitting our early shots in the season. So it's just a combination of all three.
Yeah, and like I don't really follow the team like that, but a lot of people have been saying that like, teams have been loading up on Lillard and McCollum and kind of forcing other guys like Bazemore and Nasir Little, I think is his name, to kind of hit shots, and they haven't been able to, like kind of guys in the past on the team have been able to. Is that true?
Yeah, and it was pretty evident, I want to say, against the Brooklyn Nets. They just loaded up on Dame. They, like, full court pressured him, denied him the ball. And teams, I think now they're starting to pick up on that and just denying Dame the ball all game long. And so that's just having other players, they need to step their game up. I want to say Hood, once he got back from back spasms, a couple games, he stood out and had, like, I want to say, a 25-point outing the other night. So it's just, if teams are, loading up on Dame, it's the next guy that has to step up. And as of right now, like you said, Nasir, he's been like an energy guy. So he's been inserted into the starting lineup here recently, and that's just giving us a boost of energy that the Blazers need.
So you kind of talked a little bit about it, people stepping up and defense and shit like that. Do you think this is something that they can turn around and kind of salvage their season and even make a deep run in the playoffs, or do you think that this is something that you can see being a problem for the whole season and even longer?
Well, it's no secret, the Blazers, they're not a defensive-minded team. We can score with the best of them. I think with the slow start, I looked at the standings earlier today, and if the playoffs did start, it is early, only 13 games into the season. But we're only 2 games out of that 8th spot. So even, with teams like Phoenix being kind of hot coming out the gate, Mavs, even Minnesota, I expect those teams to slow down a little bit over the course of the season. So I do think the Blazers are going to make the playoffs, hopefully a top seed. Before the season started, I had them, that 4th seed.
Yeah.
But the West is loaded, man. It's like you never know what's going to happen. That last month of the season, it's, man, wherever the chips fall, that's where you're going to land. But I do have them making the playoffs. And then depending on who we're matched up in that first round, we can make it to the second round.
All right, so second round. Not sure if you've heard, but they are signing or have signed a guy named Carmelo Anthony. Some people have heard about him here and there and shit like that. So what are your thoughts on how he fits the team this early in the season? I know it's kind of hard to tell a lot of different things, but what do you think he brings to the team? How do you think he fits the team? And,
just his shooting. I think him having the ability to just pick and pop, so he could set that high screen with Dame or CJ, and just hit that top of the key 3, or even spot up in the corner. When teams like to, double Dame when he's driving to the hoop. He can kick it out to that corner. Hood and Bazemore, they've been hitting that corner shot here recently. In the beginning, it was kind of slow. But I think Melo, with his expertise and even his low post scoring, like a lot of people overlook his ability to score in the post.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that the Blazers are lacking this year because Nurk is out. We don't have that guy we could really throw it down to in the paint. I mean, Hassan, he'll give us some points here and there, but not having Nurk this year and then even Zach being hurt with a shoulder injury, we're kind of missing. Yeah, we're kind of missing
a threat in the paint,
score.
Right? Yeah, I forgot who I was watching. I think it was either somebody like, it might have been Skip Bayless or fucking Stephen A or someone like that, but they were saying how the Blazers, all they do is they ISO at the 3-point line with like Lillard and McCollum and shit, and Melo gives teams a different look, like in the paint, on the block, at the elbow,
Right.
so teams can't just focus on the 3-point line and kind of triple Dame as soon as he goes into the paint. Like Melo will be somewhere in the paint or in the mid range. So like from the outside looking in, like the kind of narrative and perspective that people look at the Blazers is like, it's kind of an ISO offense, like Dame takes his turns, McCollum gets his turns and shit like that, and it's not really a cohesive offense. And I don't really know, you know more than me, but when I hear things like that, I think, all right, cool, then maybe Melo can get his turns. And Melo can pass. A lot of people don't really give him credit for that,
Right.
but he can pass. Just when he's at the elbow or something like that. The thing with the Knicks was he would always have to pass it two or three times to swing it around and shit like that. So yeah, I'm really like interested to see how this offense looks and kind of how the coach utilizes them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with that, because like you said with Dame and CJ, since they are ball dominant and they can get their shot off whenever they
Right.
want, it's just having Melo is going to give us a different aspect on the offense. Like I said, hopefully Stotts puts him at the high post or even down low and works something with him because Melo, like you said, he could pass, man. If a double team's coming. Like, he has great vision. I remember I saw him play when he was with the Nuggets and he came to Portland. I promise you, he was looking like all world out there, man. I think he had like a double-double that game. And he just I got to go back to the highlights or something, man, because it was crazy. But now Melo, I think he'll be a great addition, though, for us.
Kind of curious to get your opinion on Melo and this whole narrative around him over the last, like, year or two, or even going back to the New York days or whatever you want. What is kind of your thoughts on Melo as a player, and kind of what do you think about everything that's happened to him over the last year or two?
Melo, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer guy. That's no buts about that. With his recent stops in Oklahoma and Houston, I mean, me personally, I really don't know. I'm not in the locker room.
Right.
It's all speculation from everybody outside that locker room. I just think that in Houston, he was more of the scapegoat. After 10 games, how can you let him go after he's averaging 10 to 12 points? Like, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I know his shooting percentage did go down a little bit, but that guy with that talent, like, he could rebound. There's no way that you should just cut a guy 10 games after a season,
Yeah.
And then I think with when he was in OKC, with Russell and Paul George, it just wasn't going to fit from the beginning because both of those guys, they're ball dominant as well. And everybody knows Melo likes to, pat the ball a little bit, trying to get his shot. But I think at this point in his career, I think he will adjust. I think for the most part, he'll come off the bench and he'll have to, listen to Dame and CJ and be that third or fourth option for us.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot of things that have gone on in Melo's career, like, for example, in 2009, when he had a veteran point guard like Chauncey Billups, he needs like a point guard who he respects that could be like Melo, like, we're going to run this play, like, we'll get you next play, or like, all right, Melo, like, go down on the block and shit. So in 2009 with Billups, he respected Billups, and he kind of listened to him and did that shit. In 2012, 2013, when they had Kidd, he wasn't the point guard, he was the two, but still, like, Melo was like, all right, like, I respect,
Exactly.
your basketball knowledge and all that shit, so he, like, listened to him, and a guy like Lillard, I think Melo has an insane amount of respect for. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of see how he adapts, like you were saying, to having two guys who are really ball dominant. Is McCollum like ball dominant like that, or is that kind of overstated?
Um, like he has to dribble a couple times to get his
Right.
shot. It's not saying that he isn't capable of just spot up shooting, but he does like to do a couple moves, couple dribbles to get his shot. So
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
that's how I look at it for the
All
most
right.
part.
And then another thing I wanted to ask you on the Melo front was, a lot of people talk about how bad Melo's been defensively, and he's never been a great defender, but I don't think he's ever been as bad as people say he is.
Right.
Are the Blazers a team that you think can hide him on defense? Do you think they're a team that they have other weak players defensively, so it's not going to matter? Like, what are your thoughts on defense?
I think Stotts will be able to hide him here and there, but since we're so depleted in our front court, like he's going to have to guard, the Paul Millsaps, maybe the Anthony Davises
Right.
out here in the West, because the West, the teams are still big. In Houston they got Capella, on Denver, like I said, Paul Millsap
Jokic.
and Joker. So with those type of lineups with the bigger guys, like Melo's going to have to D up. He's going to have to. And in the NBA, there's really no nights off. So, but I think Stotts, he'll find a way to utilize Carmelo on the defensive end. So
Yeah. Are the Blazers a team that switches a lot, or are they a team that tells their players like get over the screen or go under it? Like, what's their defensive strategies?
I think for the most, it's just situational on the matchups. But
True.
for the most part, they do switch.
Okay.
Also, like our backcourt, we're kind of small. Like we have most of our guards, Dame, CJ, and Anthony Simons coming off the bench. Our young second-year player.
Yeah.
They're all under 6'3" or 6'4", something like that.
Really?
So, like either way, like we're kind of screwed on the defensive end. So, but for the most part, we do switch up things. If it's a screen, like they do flare screens, the opposite team. But it's kind of bad out here on the defensive part.
That was a good scouting report, though. Word.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to ask you about was kind of being a Trailblazers fan. What is like the culture of being a Trailblazers fan? Like you see, for example, with the Knicks, like I'm also a Knicks fan, and you see like, oh, Knicks fans are assholes, and Knicks fans are stupid, and just all the shit they say about Knicks fans. So, what is being a Trailblazers fan like? What's the culture like? Is there a buzz at the games? Are the crowds crazy? Like, give me some insight into the life of a Trailblazers fan.
I think the fans here in Portland, man. First off, they're loyal. They do know their basketball. I can't say most of us can be emotional. I think after so many injuries over the years, we're ready, we're antsy, to bring a championship here. The last time the city won a championship was in '77.
Damn.
And so it's been a long time. So I think with us making the Western Conference Finals last year and having a great player in Damian and his backcourt mate in CJ, it's like the fans, they're hungry. They're ready. They're ready for.
They've been good for a while. You guys have been good for a while.
Yeah. I want to say like 7-8 years. going to the playoffs, and last year was the first time in 19 years making it to the Western Conference Finals. So,
Damn.
yeah. But the atmosphere at the games, like I went to the home opener against the Nuggets. Unfortunately, we lost. So we lost our 19-year streak of home openers.
Damn, really? 19 in a row?
Yeah, it was 19 in a row, man. Yeah. And
Respect.
but the buzz was there. The city's excited. I know after with this 4-8 start or whatever, it's kind of toned down a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can just see the energy or hear the energy. It's just they're just antsy. And they're like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Like, what's next?
Right.
Like almost every play is like scrutinized to an extent.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. When you say things like, yeah, we've been good for a while, would you say 7-8 years they've been in the playoffs? It's like, the Knicks have been in the playoffs 3 times since 2001.
Right.
So it's like, it's just crazy to hear that shit. And like, I can imagine if the Knicks were in it for like 7-8 years and shit, like the city would get antsy. Like, all right, like let's go. This is more than we're used to. So,
Right.
I think that's a really
But
interesting
like,
perspective.
like New York, man, it's the mecca of basketball, man. Like you guys do deserve more, man.
Yeah. Do you
guys
believe
do.
that? There's a lot of people saying like Chicago and shit like
You
that
said what?
is the new mecca. There's a lot of people saying like Anthony Davis said it. Chicago's the mecca of basketball. New York isn't, and like a lot of people shitting on New York now.
Yeah, no, I did see that Anthony Davis said that, but man, everybody knows basketball, the mecca.
Right?
in New York, man.
Right.
I can't deny that part. Yeah.
All right, so another thing that I wanted to ask you was if you had a message to the Melo community as a whole, kind of welcoming us to Portland as we become bandwagon Portland fans for the rest of the year. I hope that's cool with you and all the Blazers fans. But what's kind of a message, like, is there like a welcome, or is it like, hey guys, get ready? Kind of what's like the message you would give out there?
I think the message for the rest of the Melo fans, man, is just enjoy the ride, man. I think he's having a second chance to come back and play in the NBA. He hasn't played in a year. And, looking on social media, it's like everybody's just ready for him to see the court, man. Like, he's a legend. Like I'm excited. I can't even explain it anymore. I'm so excited, man, because Melo's, he's my favorite player. He's on the Blazers, my favorite team. Like, when I saw that news, I was like, I'm in heaven, you know? So
I didn't know Melo was your favorite player.
People just got to enjoy the ride this year, man.
Enjoy the ride. I didn't know Melo was your favorite player.
Yeah, man. Melo.
Oh, I didn't know
Blazers. It's a perfect match, man.
Bro, that's exactly how I felt when he came to the Knicks. I was like, I never like even dreamt of that before that season, obviously, with all the rumors. But when it happened and like they were playing the coming home and shit, it was just like, bro, like you can't make that shit up. It's like, it's crazy. Exactly. So now I'm guessing you're going to a game real soon.
Oh man, as soon as I get a ticket, man, I'm going, man. I gotta get a jersey first, though.
Yeah, same, bro. Same. I already. I don't know if you saw that video of like a bunch of people, one person taking off a bunch of jerseys and shit from like back in the summer.
Yeah,
House of Violets. That was me. I don't know if you know that. So I gotta get that Portland jersey real fucking quick. I already have people.
No. Funny story. I had Melo sign his Denver Nuggets jersey. I'll tell a story. I snuck downstairs after the Nuggets were playing the Blazers, and they lost. The Nuggets lost, and then Melo, he's coming down the tunnel. I was like, man, good game, man, but can I get your autograph? And he just looked at me real quick, and he signed it.
That's fucking dope.
It was on the baby blue.
The light blue?
Yeah, the powder blue jersey. Yeah.
That's fire, bro.
Yeah.
So that kind of made you a lifelong fan, or were you a lifelong fan before that?
Oh, before, even when he was playing at Syracuse.
Got it.
Because he was player of the year. He ran through the tournament, won the championship. I knew of him back at Oak Hill or whatever, but
right.
Like at Syracuse, like that solidified. I'm like, yo, Melo's my guy. I'm rocking. Yeah.
So you've been a fan for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Right, respect, bro. Respect. There's certain moments in sports history where you kind of remember exactly where you were when it happened. Like for me, it's that Melo Easter game when he hit a game-tying shot at the end of the fourth and a game winner, and I was working as a waiter, getting yelled at for screaming and shit like that. So what I want to ask you, Chris, is where were you when Lillard hit that shot that ended the Thunder season and maybe the Thunder franchise last postseason? Like, where were you? What were you doing? And what was your reaction to that? Because I can't even imagine.
I was at the game.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Me and my dad, we went to the game, and, it was game 5. And, like, it was just a buzz in the arena. Like, man, something special is going to happen. And, first half, they got up on us, And then my dad, he's talking mess. He's like, yeah, it might not look too good, son. I'm like, man, you got to have faith.
Yeah.
And then second half, they're going back and forth. It's coming down. Dame, he's on the right side of the court. Clock going down. I'm standing up. I'm like trying to get my camera out, trying to, record the moment. And next thing you know, he takes that step, shoots over George. Place goes crazy, man. I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I fell in my chair. Like, that's one thing I'll never forget that, man. But I'm like blessed to see that live in person, man, at the arena.
What was like? I know obviously there people are going crazy, but like outside the stadium, were people still like fucking going crazy? What was like the reaction outside?
Man, while we were walking back to the car, everybody's screaming. They're like, "Yeah, Lillard!" It was just crazy, man. Like I've never been a part of that, like anything like that before, and it was just great. It was just great energy for the city, and just for the rest of the year, it was great.
Yeah, I was laying in my bed watching that show. I was like, all right, let me turn this on, because I was rooting for the Thunder to lose, because what they did to Melo last year, I was like, bro, I want this Thunder team to lose, like fucking show them that they didn't get better without Melo, so I was laying in bed, and I remember he kept dribbling, and there was like 7 seconds and 4 seconds. I was like, yo, like, what is he doing? He's like 30 feet out right now. Like, what is he waiting for? And then he steps back, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. Yo, I started screaming. I ran, woke up my brother, and I was just like, did you fucking see that? And, yeah, but that was crazy. Like,
was
really
crazy.
one of the craziest game winners I've seen.
If you go on my IG page, man, like, I'm recording, and it's just my reaction. It's
Oh,
crazy,
you got
man.
it still?
Yeah, I still got it. It's posted up on my Instagram, yeah.
Word, we'll post that up because that should be fucking funny as hell. All right, Chris. So we're nearing the end of this little podcast right now. So one thing we always ask is if somebody wants to control the narrative about whatever it is that they want, something misunderstood or just something that you believe in that not many other people believe in. So Chris, if you could control the narrative about something, what would it be?
Me personally, I'm gonna say that Dame, he's a top 10 player in the league, man. I think a lot. I mean, we don't get a lot of national coverage, and so people really don't see the games as much as you stated earlier. But man, Dame puts in that work, man. Like, he's second in the league in scoring right now. Like a week ago, he was top 5 in scoring and in assists. I think people just need to realize, you know, Dame is a special player, man. He's a special player. Since, you know, Steph is out, I would say Dame is the best point guard, but, you know, you got Luka Doncic out there in Dallas. He's balling. You know, of course, you got Kyrie Irving, you know, but most definitely to control the narrative, Dame is a top 10 player.
Why do you think he doesn't get the respect he deserves? Do you think it's because of market? Like, what do you think it is?
I think it is because being in a small market, you know, that plays into it a bit. I think that he doesn't have like the handles like a Kyrie or something like that,
It's not
or
as
he doesn't,
flashy.
you know, shoot the ball, you know, every single time like James, you know. And no knock on those guys on their playing abilities because they're great.
Right.
But I think Dame, man, he's a special player, and I think people need to realize that.
Word. Well, Chris, appreciate you coming on and you know, introducing us to the Portland Trailblazer life a little bit. Excited to connect with you, the Blazer Gang, and everyone moving forward. So tell them where you could listen to the Blazer Gang on.
Well, you could follow us on Twitter, Blazer_gang, and then at our IG at official Blazer Gang. And we're on all platforms for the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio at Blazer Gang Podcast.
Word, Chris. Well, appreciate you hopping on. Like I said, let's go Blazers, and let's turn the season around.
For sure, man.
All right, yes, sir. Have a good one, homie.
All right, man.
Peace.
For sure.